S58 is just so mighty. Let's just enjoy this. Hey guys, welcome to my first drive video on BMW's brand new G82 M4 competition. I have this car for literally a couple of hours, so Patrick and I are going to do our best to bring you along for the journey. This afternoon I'm getting my hands on the M3 competition, so that video will be on the channel in a couple of days time, and then I'm actually getting an M4 comp similar to this one as a press car. So for 4 or 5 days I'll be able to bring you a more extensive review on this car then. Today's literally going to be first impressions, etc. The M4 competition starts at just over £76,000 here in the UK. This particular press car has about £10,000 worth of options on it. In fact, a similar spec to my incoming M3. We're talking visibility package, so laser lights, carbon package, which consists of the carbon exterior pack and the carbon seats, which are very important. And I think it has the comfort package as well. Although 86 grand is a lot of money on the road as this car stands, when you compare it to Audi's RS5 Vorsprung spec, that's actually £86,500. So it kind of sits in the right place. As I talked about in my first look video with the new M3 and M4, the grille itself is the big talking point on the internet. I really like the grille, I love the styling on this car, and I've put my money where my mouth is because I've got an M3 competition turning up in a couple of weeks. I think it really does depend on the colour though. Some colours, maybe like the white, don't suit this new styling with the big grille, but in the black, I think it looks brilliant. It really looks super aggressive, especially as this has got the contrasting blue carbon seats. They really work well together. As with the previous generation, I think the M4 looks a bit more subtle compared to the M3, but saying that, the step between a regular 4 Series and the M4 has now grown in my opinion. This does look the business. We've got staggered wheels, so we've got 19-inch on the front and 20-inch on the rear, and I'm hoping that that translates to a better ride quality because that's what we need here in the UK. Underneath that bonnet we have the new S58 engine that we first saw in the X3M and the X4M. We're talking 3-litre straight 6 twin turbo, so very similar to the S55, but 510 horsepower and 650 newton meters of torque. BMW claim this would do the 0 to 62 sprint in just 3.9 seconds, which is crazy when you think about it, because this is just a rear-wheel drive car. There will be an X-Drive version available probably in the next 6 months or so, but at the moment here in the UK at least, we are stuck with rear-wheel drive and the ZF 8-speed gearbox. So the DCT 7-speed is no longer, and unfortunately with the M3 and the M4, you can no longer opt for a manual 6-speed. Okay guys, I think I've talked enough. Let's get inside and take it out for a drive. You join me 5 minutes into my first drive in the M4 competition, and I'm sitting on the M3. Hardly exotic, I know. I should be going sideways on a circuit somewhere, but unfortunately due to COVID restrictions, BMW UK had to cancel their initial launch, which was going to be at Bedford actually. That would have been epic, but hey, at least we get to drive the car, and I'm taking it down to a half decent road, which is about 15 minutes away. What are my initial impressions? Well, I knew these seats were good because I've sat in these seats before at my first look, and I'm not exaggerating, these are the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in. They fit me so well. I'm sitting so low. I mean, look at that gap above my head. You wouldn't think I was 6'4", would you, in this car? I can't wait to take it out on track because I would actually be able to put a helmet on without too much discomfort. I think I'll be able to sit straight and with my neck straight as opposed to driving like that like I do in my M2. I've reset the trip computer and the MPG gauge just to give you guys an idea of what it's like at 70 miles an hour on the motorway. So when we peel off, I'll update you on that. Initial ride quality actually seems to be pretty good, although we are on a motorway, so I can't really judge it, but it doesn't feel too different to an M440i. Talking of that, let's preset my M1 button, so when I get to a good road I can engage that and it'll bring up all of my favoured settings. So if we go down here to menu, press the car and M menu, configure M1. Now I've got all of these settings, so engine, well, we'll put that into Sport Plus. That'll give me maximum throttle response and hopefully more exhaust sound. Transmission, well, we're going to speed that as fast as possible, so S3. This has got the ZF 8-speed gearbox, so it's a full automatic gearbox now, not a dual clutch, but a very good automatic gearbox. My slight fear is that it might remove some of the engagement that the DCT's got. The chassis I'm going to leave in Sport. I think Sport Plus is going to be too stiff and we'll soon find that out. Steering, I'm going to actually bring that down to comfort because I think BMW's sports steering or M steering is always a little bit too weighty, so let's leave that in comfort. And then brakes, for the first time in the M3 and M4, I can adjust how powerful I want the servo on the brakes to be, so I'm going to put that into sports actually, so that should give me the maximum bite. And below that I've actually got a 10-stage traction control, so I can turn it all the way from maximum on to 0 completely off, a bit like you do get in a AMG GTR, so that's awesome. I'm going to leave that at, like, let's say 3 and see how much that intervenes. That's something I'm really going to want to play with when I get out on track more so than I will on the public road. Start stop, that's off. Sound control, don't know what that is. I'm guessing maybe that's fake sound in the cabin, so let's leave that on for now. And that's pretty much it. So now when I hit my M1 button, which is up here on the steering wheel, it should, there we go, that brings me into my M setting. In fact, you can hear it, sounds very different. Oh yes, that sounds good. How much of that is fake, I'm not sure, but it definitely sounds very good. Something else that's new in the M3 and M4 is the M mode button, in line with the bigger M cars, and that allows me to shut down some of the excess screens, so the infotainment screen when I'm out on track, so that's not distracting me. It also disengages some of the pedestrian safety braking features that this car has, so it's not going to start overriding your controls when you're out on track and you're following someone close. And that's really handy. Again, I can't wait to try that out on track. Okay guys, M1 mode engaged and a decent B road. Before I forget, I averaged 38 miles to the gallon sitting at around 70 miles an hour on the motorway, so that's good news for long journeys. It's going to have a decent range when you're not booting it. I've just spent about the past hour doing drive-bys with Patrick, so I feel like I know this car a lot better. And I mean, I can't begin to tell you how good this car is. I've been sitting here for the past hour thinking, you guys are just going to think that it's so predictable that I say this car's good. We know it's 1,800 kilos, and I was really worried what that was going to do to the car. It hasn't got the most steering feel in the world. It's probably no worse than the outgoing M4 competition. It's 4 degrees outside. It is damp in patches. We've got the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S on this press car, which is interesting because I've noticed customers' cars are turning up with Pirellis, and that's not the first time that BMW M have done that to the UK market. Launch control in the brand new M4 competition. BMW claim it would do the 0 to 62 sprint in just 3.9 seconds. My race box is ready. Here we go. Amazing grip off the line. 3.72 seconds in cold, greasy conditions. Wow. control and the ride along this really choppy B road is massively impressive. I'm in sport, as you know, at the moment, because that's what I've configured my M1, and it just rides along here so well. It's so composed, it's firm yet supple, if that makes sense, and it just tracks over everything really well. And the rear axle seems to find the most amazing amounts of grip. It really is good over undulations and out of tight corners, so they've obviously done a lot to the diff. I've got the DSC off, as you know, but I've got the traction control wound up to 3, so very low, but it allows it to give it some angle when you push it reasonably hard, which obviously I can't do too much because I'm on a public road on a 60 limit. I love it. I love the driving position. I love the support I'm getting in this seat and how comfortable it is. I love everything. The ride is amazing. The car doesn't feel too big on the road. It feels no bigger than the previous car, not too wide, which is really important for the UK. The throttle response is amazing. The adjustable traction control works so well. Oh, the S58 is just so mighty. It really is. It's unbelievable. I find myself short shifting all the time because the torque is so addictive, but not in a bad way like the early F80 and F82s. Those cars just wanted to throw you off the road every chance they got. This one, it just seems to hunker down and find grip, and yes, it maybe looks like it's sitting a bit far off the ground and the wheels might look a little bit small for the size of the car, but they're all there for a purpose. They're there to make the car actually find grip and work really well. It's all very well having 21-inch wheels with tiny rubber band tyres, but if they're not finding grip, they're only looking good at car shows, and that's about it, and costing you a fortune on pinch flats when you hit a pothole. This is really nice. It's lovely having a little bit of tyre sidewall, and the brakes. Oh, I mean, the brakes are just amazing. You can get the optional carbon ceramics, which I think are about £6 or something, but honestly, for most of the time, you're really not going to need to opt for those. Gone are the days of BMW M cars having rubbish brakes. These are proper brakes, really good feel, especially in the sports setting. You can probably tell I'm very impressed with this car on my first drive. I'm going to leave this video there, guys, because I have to get this car back. We had a couple of hours with it, so hopefully this video has done some justice, and hopefully I've managed to share my experience of my first drive with you guys and girls, because as you can probably tell, I'm very excited. I was a bit anxious this morning. I thought it would feel overly heavy and maybe a little bit numb, but actually it doesn't. You still feel very engaged, and on the road at least it feels like a mighty piece of kit. 76 grand's a lot of money, but this is a lot of performance. I mean, incredible. Thanks a lot to Patrick for helping me film today. I'll see you in a few days' time. Well, let's just enjoy this. I will see you in a few days' time with my first drive on the M3 competition, and I'll be bringing you a lot more content on an M4 press car in the next couple of weeks. So please comment below, let me know what you want me to cover on that particular car. Cheers guys, thanks a lot for watching, thanks for the support, and I'll see you at the next video.